Unraveling the world of living in a fantasy. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our channel, where we dive into the fascinating world of English language learning. Today, we're exploring a phrase that's as intriguing as it is common: living in a fantasy. This phrase is rich with meaning and can add a lot of color to your conversations. Let's embark on this journey together to understand what it truly means to live in a fantasy, and how you can use this phrase in your everyday English. Living in a fantasy refers to a state where an individual is absorbed in their dreams or imaginations, often ignoring the realities of the world around them. This phrase is used to describe someone who has unrealistic expectations or beliefs about life, situations, or even relationships. It's like living in your own world, a world that is far removed from the practical and often harsh realities of everyday life. To better understand this phrase, let's look at some examples. Imagining perfect scenarios. Someone might be said to be living in a fantasy if they always imagine scenarios where everything goes perfectly, without considering the possible challenges or setbacks. Idealizing relationships. Believing that relationships can be flawless, without conflicts or disagreements, is another form of living in a fantasy. Unrealistic goals. Setting goals that are not achievable given one's current situation or abilities can also be seen as living in a fantasy. Living in a fantasy isn't always negative, but it's important to recognize its implications. It can lead to disappointment when reality fails to match up with one's fantasies. However, a bit of fantasy can also be a source of creativity and motivation, as long as one remains grounded in reality. Balancing dreams with practicality is key. This phrase can be used in both formal and informal contexts, but it's more commonly found in casual conversations. Here are a few ways you can incorporate it into your speech. To offer advice: I think you're living in a fantasy if you expect everything to be perfect. To express concern: you're living in a fantasy world if you believe that job is going to fall into your lap without any effort. Understanding the phrase, living in a fantasy, enriches your English vocabulary and helps you convey complex ideas about reality, expectations, and dreams. We hope this video has shed some light on this fascinating phrase and that you can now use it confidently in your conversations. Remember, a touch of fantasy can be beautiful, but staying connected to reality is what truly moves us forward. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to bringing you more insights into the English language. Happy learning!